welcome to the Easily Excitable podcast. My name is Top, and with me this week is Spencer. Hey man, how's it going?
Not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Had the afternoon off, had to go to the dentist. It's kind of putting a time frame on this because it'll be 3 weeks to the day until this actually comes out. So that's fun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, time stamping it because I have everything planned out. I've been doing a lot of that recently, actually, planning out everything that I want to achieve over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And, at work, because we're coming up to a big management review meeting, everything's getting planned, and there's been, I don't know, it's Thursday, yeah. So I've had, I don't know, 5 meetings this week already. So I've got one more day.
Oh my god, that's 5 more than I could probably handle at this point.
Yeah, and so I've just been in the habit of scheduling and planning everything at work, and that's kind of bled over into what I'm doing, and all the journal posts I've been making, most of them have been planned this week as to what I'm going to write about. Yesterday I wrote about the most wrestling ever, and I was just like, okay, so much wrestling. But just keeping on top of it and just being like, yeah, what do I need to do? What stuff do I want to think about? And when I was driving home yesterday, I was like, oh, what stuff's in my brain? Because I was trying to listen to podcasts and way too much stuff in my brain. So yeah. I was like, I better record some short things. So I recorded 2 5-minute clips of me musing on certain things. I'm just like, great, now they're out of my head and I don't need to worry about them.
Yeah, I actually listened to your one this morning.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 6 minutes long.
6.5. Yeah, it was nice to wake up to.
So thanks. It was, it's one of those things that I'm trying to get in the habit of doing, and every month I want to be putting one out that's just an update, so I can verbally get things out of my head that I'm thinking about and just needing to give consideration to. And yeah, I find it useful, but it kind of goes hand in hand with writing a journal every day as well.
Oh yeah.
So what's been keeping you busy?
Work has been keeping me really busy, and home life keeping me really busy, and myself and Jeremy are not really busy doing the final stages of the 1551 album, but we're getting down there. There's only a few things left to do. We got one song done, another song is on the verge of being done, and then there's another one that's barely been touched, and one that hasn't been touched at all that I have to actually start on really soon. But yeah, and lots of stuff here at work. Last week it was a full slate here. I pulled 2 consecutive 14-hour days here at the office, which doesn't happen ever. And now that I'm an old fart, takes its toll on me. Young me would have laughed at me at how tired I was on the morning of the 3rd day.
Yeah.
I used to do, when I first started as an audio engineer, I would go a week solid, 14, 16-hour days. Yeah, I'd be tired at the end of that, but it would be at the end of it and not after 2 days.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So last week was a reminder that I am not 23 anymore.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. And was that what's the word? Was it a concert you were doing, or just a performance of some kind?
Yeah, it was basically
desking for? Yeah,
we had a few times a year we basically have a visiting scholar in residence here at our research center. So we'll bring in a top name audio ethnomusicologist, and they'll basically come in for the week, and they'll meet with students. They'll do classes. They'll do seminars. Public engagement events, which in the case of Dr. Denise Gill last week was a live concert, which I was doing sound for, as well as managing 2 of my students doing cameras and recording the concert for future use. And then the next night it was our lecture live stream, where we basically, we do up our presentation, gallery presentation room upstairs. I set up a bunch of live streaming gear, again, a couple of cameras with a couple of students, and we live stream it to our YouTube channel. And later on I'll do a slightly edited version, and we'll upload that to our YouTube channel as well, so that people who couldn't be here for it live in the room itself, could either A, check it out online as it happened, or B, check out the archive, later on when I have it edited and uploaded. So
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, because I messaged you about this when that was going on.
Yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, there's stuff going on. Ah!
It's like, yeah, I'll talk in a minute. Vader. Hold on. But yeah, no, it was good. It was good. It wasn't too exhausting. It's fun. Kept me on my toes. No serious technical difficulties or anything like that. So I didn't have to break out the Kevin MacLeod music or anything. So not that I would have anyway, but it would have been funny as hell.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. So yeah. I don't know where to guide today, other than I actually we've talked about it a lot before, that I have this reverb and double delay pedal called the Ocean Machine.
Mm-hmm.
And today I finally have it set up where I can record both, as I finally have my amp back, which is incredible. I think last time we spoke, I'd just got it back, but I hadn't really had time to mess around with it.
Yeah, you literally had brought it back in through the door, and it was yet to be plugged in.
Yes, and now that it's running smoothly, and I think one of my cables is potentially bad, but that's one of the cables that I run around with all the time, and they're the ones that you'd expect to go after a certain amount of time.
Yeah. Nothing is impervious to wear and tear,
No. So I think that's going at the moment. But now I've got my amp set up, and I've got my signal chain, which goes EQ, compressor. Then it does some fun things, and it goes into my POG, the polyphonic octave generator.
Yeah.
Then a Mega Distortion 2, which I got rid of. I removed it from my setup of pedals for ages. But I've just found that with the EQ on and the overdrive, adding the distortion in there as well, I was that's just going to go way over the top. And now I'm just actually, I really like the sound of the distortion going into the overdrive.
Nice.
Because it's just because the distortion provides a different effect to the overdrive.
Yeah.
So you're applying the effect to it, and then you've got the overdrive where you're getting a really different kind of clipping. And I just really like how they mesh together. Nice. But it has to go distortion then overdrive. The other way around doesn't sound good.
Oh God, no. That's oh jeez.
yeah. Then I've got my fuzz. Then I've got my chorus. I'm debating moving my chorus to after the preamp, but then it goes into the amp, out the effects loop, into the delay echo, then loop station into the amp. That's another thing we'll touch on in a bit. Is that when I move over to the States, I'm intending to get 2 amps, but we'll talk about that in a bit, so I can go a wet-dry setup. Oh, that's
there you go.
Fun. So I have this Ocean Machine, which is kind of ridiculous. It's a lot of fun. It's got big reverbs in it. It's got 2 delays, and if you've got a stereo setup, you can ping-pong between the two speakers or whatever. 2
nice.
That you're using. And that provides some fun effects. I was watching a video of the guys on that pedal show where they were doing a wet, dry, wet rig. And so they had their dry amp in the center, 2 wets on the outside, and they were stereo ping-ponging between the 2 amps.
Oh, good God.
That were on the outside, so they've still got this amazing dry signal. But I'll get into that in a bit anyway, because they've kind of inspired me to do this. So I've got this Ocean Machine, and I have it set up at the moment so that there's no effects on. I've just got my EQ on. That's the only thing that's on at the moment.
Right.
Because, it just helps the sound of the guitar. I'm playing my Schecter 006 Elite. At the moment, it's in single coil mode, and the guitar is tuned down to drop C, so we get this nice bass note in
there. There you go. And my guitar cannot handle drop C. Can't do it at all.
Yeah, so I've got this set up. I'll probably we'll stay on the single coils for a while. We'll add a bit of reverb in that's set on the hall setting with some moderate settings. I could probably amp up the reverb a little bit, but we've got some cool things that we can do with the pedal. So if I just play some notes and I'm like...
That's a very bluesy setting.
I really like the single coil on this. It really does give me that bluesy feel. I'm just like,
Nice.
I just really enjoy it. But then we can add some delay into it. If we add one delay, I've chosen a tape delay for this delay. We'll see how that goes and see how it emulates it. But tape's the best delay if it's a real tape.
Yeah.
We know that. So
Yeah.
okay, so it's on a relatively short delay, about a third of a second.
Yeah, a little bit of a slapback.
Yeah.
That sounds like the band is doing sound check on stage just as you walk into the arena.
Yeah. Like,
It's very
it's
cool.
in the background, it's there. And then if I've got this longer digital delay set up that's about just over a second that will nicely tail off slowly. And then what we can do is if we've got both of them on, the tape, the digital, and the hall reverb, we can get a nice big sound by just playing a few notes. It just keeps going for quite a while. And
very moody.
I really like that. Yeah. And then, but the thing with the pedal is, I've described this before, but it's really hard to describe without like having an example of it going on. So the chain goes at the moment. It's going the digital delay into the tape delay and then into the reverb. So what I can do is I can freeze the effects. So we've got the digital delay first.
Yeah.
If I say, okay, we're going to go digital delay first, and if I freeze that and I play a note, or two, or three, I'll play a few notes. And we see what goes on here. And if I freeze
Thou shalt playest 5 notes, no more, no less.
So now I'm freezing the long delay. We're still hearing the tape delay. And the reverb's just encapsulating the whole thing.
Yep.
But I'm not playing anymore, but it's keeping the same levels of things going. But I can go back to it now. I know what key I'm playing in. So I'm just going to add a little more over the top. So that's now going to like create this bigger sound that we've got going on.
Yeah, nice and layered.
It's just, so and you can hear mostly what's going on. It does get a bit too cluttered with sounds. But
yeah.
I'll let go of it now, and you can just hear it. Then it naturally decays away as it would have before.
Yeah.
But you can freeze any of the effects. So if I go with the tape delay that's on the short delay in the middle, and play a similar kind of thing. But because we've got the shorter delay, you're going to get the tape sound building up much faster. I'll stop that there because it will overpower everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
But it feeds in from the first delay that you've got. But because you're now not freezing the first delay, you're not going to be hearing the first delay as much.
Right.
Because it's not going to be bouncing back and forwards on that. So it all becomes rather interesting. But then you can also freeze the reverb. So if we do the same kind of thing again, you get this kind of amalgamation of all of the sounds that you've created, just building up. And then this is the one that you really can build the most on. And as long as you're sticking in the same key, it doesn't sound atrocious. It sounds quite pleasant, and it'll just build and build and build. And yeah, you're not hearing any of the echoes or anything that are going on that are coming from the delays. You really are just hearing an evolution of the reverby sound.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun to play with. But like I've said before, there's 9 settings on the delay A, 9 settings on delay B, and 9 settings on the reverb. Not settings, modes that they can emulate. And then you've got all the parameters that you can mess around with. And I've had a lot of fun, just playing anything, sticking on the freeze. But you can stick on the freeze, and then you can play around with the time and things like that.
Yeah.
So if we do something like this, just I'm going to take off the tape delay, just leave the digital delay on, and have the whole reverb set up still, and just play a few notes. So now we've got that just floating around. If we start messing around and changing the times, we'll get some nice, strange digital effects going on.
Yep.
But we can also affect like the mix at this point as well. So we can change how the feedback is interacting. So if we change how the feedback works, the feedback's not going to do too much at this point. But if we change the delay mix, we can hear it building up just a little bit more and more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's that amount that's actually going through the feedback settings, right?
Yes. Yeah. So now that we've frozen it, it's still gonna be effects going through it. And then if we start messing with the sound, this is where it gets fun and crazy. So now we have a gap in the sound because there's nothing there because I've extended the time of the delay. But now we get this nice digital glitchy kind of sound.
Yeah.
And you speed it back up to where it was before.
If you can time it, and you can do like a nice little sweep with the timing, you actually go do it. I've done that before. That was really cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Then we're gonna start. Crazy loud.
That doesn't sound like a nightmare at all.
I know, right?
That's great.
So it's a lot of fun to play with, and yeah, I've just been having an absolute blast playing around with it. I have just tended to stick it on, shove the tape on, turn the digital off. I'm now back on the humbucker on this guitar, and it's just. Just gives that fullness to the sound. It's wonderful, isn't it?
It is nice.
So much fun. And yeah, like I'm glad my amp's fixed, but yeah, I'm just like, the amp is. I don't know. The amp almost seems superfluous as I'm never pushing the amp to its like natural overdrive in any capacity.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, I really don't know much about. I know enough about the amp, like, and how to get the sounds out of it I want, but I know I need to keep I can get the volume up to quite a decent level.
Yeah.
It's pretty decent, but yeah, I'm at the point where I'm like, yeah, it's an alright amp, but at the like, because I'm moving over to the States and getting rid of the amp, I'm like, do I get a new one? What do I get? We've talked about it before, and I was intending to get a Victory V40, but oh my, have I changed my mind? Because yeah, I was watching that pedal show, and they were going on about wet dry rigs and other things. Wet dry rigs being an amp where you have two amps set up essentially, and one has just the effects that don't really provide any modulation. They're like your distortions and your overdrives and your EQ, things that need to go into the front of the amp before you put them anywhere. Then you've got your modulating things like your delays, your reverbs, your choruses. To an extent, there is arguments to have them before and after the preamp. So that's like
same with wah pedals. I mean, there's people will have exhaustive arguments as to whether that should be pre or post. It could go either. It depends on how violent you want it to be.
Yeah, I've seen people make the argument that it just goes first, no matter what else is in your chain.
Yeah.
First, and I'm just like, I just mess around. Like, I have my chain exactly set up how it is because I've done it, because I've played a lot with pedals in way different orders, and I like this version the best. But yeah, like a wah pedal's like one that I'm just like, I don't really know if I'll ever get one of those. But I mean, all I can know is like I would just play on it, like try and emulate Tom Morello as much as I could for like 20 minutes, and then I'd be done. And I'd just be like, that's a novelty, but is it worth it? I don't really know.
I mean, it can be used for much more subtle things too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you can use it for like a rhythm guitar,
Hmm.
you know, like just something nice and subtle, just to let it poke through the mix just a little bit more, you know,
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
as opposed to go wow, all the time. Just a little EQ bump, because essentially
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's a bump, right? So it's just
Yeah.
the wah part comes from it's not a little bump, but it's an extreme
It's
bump.
a
That's
massive
the
bump in
effect, yeah.
it. Yeah.
But I mean, the whole sweeping thing. I mean, that's the effect, right? So
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
you can pick and choose your frequency and then have fun with it.
Hmm.
Matter of fact,
Yeah. So
you can line 3 or 4 of them in together, one between the other, and have each pedal at a different setting, and then see what you can come up with. But you know,
yeah. So what would you say is like the most popular amp that's out
oh, that is such a loaded question.
there? Yeah.
That is such a
Like
loaded question.
for recording like kind of bluesy stuff we'll go with. So
Fender,
I
Fender Tweed.
Fender Tweed, okay.
Yeah, definitely Fender Tweed.
Because yeah, I've seen a lot of arguments for the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe being one of the most popular
Yeah, that
amps
it would
around
be.
at the
Yeah,
moment. And that is one of the ones that I'm like, oh, actually, rather than getting this crazy Victory amp that's mega expensive, why don't I get a moderately priced Fender Hot Rod Deluxe?
there
The
you go.
version 4s have just come out.
Yeah,
And then why don't I, with the remainder money, because, oh, Victory V40s are way expensive. Oh no, I wanted a V30 anyway. I want V30 counters. They're expensive anyway. Why don't I replace that with getting a Vox AC15 custom and a and Fender Hot Rod Deluxe and create myself a really nice wet dry rig. Like,
that's actually a really nice combination. What you just described.
mm-hmm.
Those are two lovely amps that are quite versatile.
Yeah, so I was thinking of getting a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 as well, and some Sennheiser E609s, and
Oh, I
connecting
love
those
those.
up.
I love those. I love those microphones.
Yeah, connecting those up and being like, yes, well, this is my sound from now on.
Yeah. Oh,
And
I miss my E609. I miss
mm,
it so much.
yeah,
It's one of my
and
favorite snare drum microphones and guitar amp microphones.
yeah, so that's where my head's at the moment. Get those, but then I've still got money left over if I'm going by a strict budget that I'd previously given myself, and I have enough for the So Victory have done these pedals called the V4, which essentially replace the preamp in your amp to create a preamp setup of the amps that they have. So they've done
Okay.
this version of the V4 called the Countess. So it's essentially a preamp to go in front of your amp. So you would wire it in. Guitar goes into pedal, out of pedal into amp.
Right.
Then you go from effects loop out into the pedal and then back into the amp from the pedal.
Right.
On bypass mode, it ignores what's going on and just passes your signal through with no effects.
Right.
You just go straight. But if you put it in bypass mode, it cuts out the preamp and uses the preamp that's built into the pedal only.
Oh, okay.
So then you've got just the characteristics of the preamp that's in the pedal that's modeled after the amp that I wanted to go in the first place.
Well, there you go.
Different amp entirely. So now you have 3 channels on a single channel amp, even though there's actually the dirty channel on the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe. So now you have 4 channels on a 2-channel amp.
Nice.
Ooh.
That's options.
So so that's my thinking about what I'm going to be doing to create this crazy sound setup that I'm going to have.
Nice.
And I don't know which way to go round. Whether to go with the Hot Rod Deluxe as the dry amp and the Vox as the wet amp.
Well, you could go either way. You could go either way.
I will go either way and discover what sounds.
That'll be half the fun, figuring out which one sounds best.
Yeah.
For what purpose.
Yes. And so I'm at the point where I'm just like, wow, I have all of these ideas, and I'm not in the right place to start trying them right now.
No. That would be a lot of stuff to schlep over, I tell you.
Yeah, so I'm waiting until I get to the States to get all that stuff. But it's just like, I'm going to get rid of my amp here and maybe one of the guitars. And I'm just like, but
Oh, which one of
all
your
of the
guitars are you be getting
possibilities.
rid of?
Possibly the Ibanez. Like,
Okay.
I took the pickups that I had in it out. I had a John Petrucci signature set, the old signature set that was the Crunch Lab and Liquefier, which he recorded like the album Systematic Chaos on with
Okay.
King Fear. And yeah, I really like the sound of those, but I took them out because I was like, oh, I'll keep those. And then as I've played the guitar more and more and like compared it to this guitar, like my Schecter, I'm just like, oh, I really like that guitar because it's real fast, but it's got a the Ibanez tremolo system, the 0 point system,
Oh, right. Yeah.
rather than a Floyd Rose, and it works really nicely. But the guitar itself, like, I don't know if I'll play it if I get the guitar that I want to get when I go to the States, which is
Right.
the Charvel DK54, because they're borrowing the body shapes from Jackson now because they're all owned by Fender.
Right.
And so I'm just like, oh, will I ever play it if I have this just fat neck Charvel? Because I played it and it has the thickest neck of the bunch, and I'm just like, oh, do I need something with a really thin neck? Am I ever gonna get along with it? But like, I know where they all sit in like different price ranges as well. Like, actually, this guitar and the Ibanez, so the Schecter and the Ibanez, they're roughly in the same price range. But if I step up in price to something else, I can see myself being like, oh, the Ibanez isn't as versatile as everything else. The Schecter has its coil tapping, so we can really get those nice bluesy tones, like as we found so far. But it also, it's got those humbucker mode that can absolutely shred as well.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, and like because of the way, like because of the stuff I play, like I'm playing in drop C on this guitar, and changing the tuning on anything with a tremolo system is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, I just leave that in standard tuning, and then because it's in standard tuning, I'm just like, I'm just not gonna play it.
Yeah.
Which is real unfortunate because it's a real nice guitar. It's an anniversary edition of the S. It was like on its 25th anniversary. I got it then.
Oh, okay.
But like, yeah, it's only, I don't know. It's all right. But yeah,
That's okay. Well, I mean,
it's a special edition. I'm just like, oh, it's a special edition. I should absolutely keep it. But I'm absolutely keeping the Schecter because Schecter don't recognize it exists, and it might be one of the finest guitars.
yeah.
I'm just like, no.
Yeah, I've recorded with the bass players with that Schecter basses before, and I'm like, God, the thing sounds so good, but damn, are they so heavy? Just like, don't fall overboard with that, man. You going down.
Yeah. Yeah, like I can't find the specs for this guitar anywhere.
No?
No. Schecter have their Vault, which they for every guitar that they've made in the past, and this doesn't feature in it. Every guitar that they've made for the last 50 years. I think it's 50, it might be 35 years. And this guitar just does not feature. You can't find any information about it anywhere. And it's just the strangest thing.
Have you tried Google?
Yes, yeah, I can find information about it. It does exist. I can find other ones should it break. But the issue is, they do have a version of it, but they issued a version. I bought this in 2004, and in 2005 they replaced the neck pickup. Instead of having a single coil, instead of having the humbucker, which has the coil split, they replaced the guitar entirely with a single coil in the neck and humbucker in the bridge. And then said, okay, this is the only version that ever existed. When clearly that's a lie. And so, like, the double humbucker with coil split just doesn't exist. Apparently, it doesn't exist. It obviously exists. Have it in my hands. But, yeah, it's a real strange story. I'm just like, oh.
Have you emailed the company, said, hey, boss, what's up with that?
What's up with that? Where's the spec for this? Where am I going to sell it?
Yeah.
I'll absolutely do that. I'm just like, yeah. Oh, man. It's really, really nice guitar.
Yeah, probably just an oversight, you know.
Yeah. It did have a Made in Korea sticker on the back, but I played the guitar so much, like up at the neck, that it is completely worn off, and I'm just like, But yeah, it's a delight to play. Yeah, I don't give this guitar enough credit, to be honest. It's like, it's so good. But
I wouldn't want to do too many live gigs with it if it's as heavy as like the bass guitars are. Oh man, you'd have to have some spine and shoulders on you.
I don't think it's that heavy. I wouldn't put it that much heavier than my Ibanez, which is an S. So, you know, that's real light.
Okay, well there you go.
But I wouldn't tour with it at all because of its rarity.
Yeah, no. That
That's
if it's if it unfortunately would be so unfortunate enough to get snapped off or something like that, or heaven forbid some skeet came up and backstage and took it on you when you weren't looking.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get
So
another
it's
one.
gone. Wouldn't get another one. So yeah. It's an important guitar. So yeah. Do you have any thoughts on like wet dry setups as we bring this in for a landing? I guess.
No, I mean it can. You can do it either way. I mean that's half the fun of having your setup. You can go and experiment with it and see what works. I know one of the guitar players I know here in town. I mean he swears by dry setup on your AC on your Vox. Swears by it, but depending on the purpose, and that's another thing. It all depends on what you're going for. What is the purpose? What is our what song is this going towards? Sometimes you might not want a wet signal. You might just want dry. So you might set up both in tandem and just have it, just play both dry and just have this big wall of in-your-face guitar, as opposed to this lush, sort of atmospheric kind of a thing. But it all depends on what you're trying to do with it.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to messing around with stuff like that. And
just absolutely. That sounds like fun. I miss getting to do that.
No, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But there's so many other things that I've got to look forward to that are gonna be like fed into, and it all tied up in all the stuff. So
yeah,
it's gonna be a crazy time going forwards.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's your timeline is getting a little more etched in stone anyway.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's just absolutely getting there, but still at the mercy of immigration paperwork.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wrote it all out the other day, and I'm just like, okay, where can I expect things to be happening? March looks like the kind of date that things are going on, but that's still like 5 months away.
Yeah.
Which is just disheartening. So, oh well, got to be cheerful about it all.
But that is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's all gonna be good. So yeah, cool. Well, Spencer, thank you for joining me this week.
You're very welcome.
I know I've done most of the talking today.
No, but I'm enjoying the experimentation.
Yeah. So where can we find you across the internet?
I am on the Tweety box at Spencer in NL, or Spencer in Newfoundland as it is. I have a CD Baby page under Spencer Crew. I'm on Bandcamp, Spencer Crew. And I'm also on the Rooster Teeth site as Grenou. GRENOU. That's it.
He can also be found across the internet with paired up with Mr. Jeremy N. Dooley in the band 1551.
Yes.
Which I think on Twitter is 1551 Band.
It is. I'm hoping that we're going to soon be actually making good use of that, because right now it's mostly going through either my Twitter or Jeremy's Twitter, and obviously Jeremy's Twitter has a lot more reach than mine.
Yeah.
Like exponentially so I'm hoping that we're soon going to avail of actually making something of that Twitter handle, which would be nice.
Cool. Yeah, and you've already got 3 songs out.
4
well, more than I thought. One more than I could remember immediately.
Yeah, 4 and 1 in the can, but we're not releasing anything new until the album comes out. So
cool. Yeah, well, you can find me across the internet at StoryTopMart at Ethar. That's on like your Twitters and your Instagrams. And that's about it, really. This is the Easily Excitable podcast. And yeah, it's been fun. Thanks, Spencer, for recording with me.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Have an exciting week. Goodbye.